Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. I am your host, Mitch Case. I'm also the co-founder and CEO of More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen their most valued relationship by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. I started this show with the intent to highlight good people doing hard work in an industry, maybe not industry specific, but in a space of challenges when you're trying to retain individuals or attract new talent. Any of those situations, these individuals are working hard and they deserve to be recognized. So this is the purpose of that show. And I'm so grateful to have a wonderful sponsor through True Captive Insurance. They believe in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. So if you want to learn more about this unique captive healthcare program, just go over to their website at www.truecaptive.com and you can learn more there. I'll also vouch for just the team over there is absolutely incredible. So our next guest is just an amazing individual. As I've had the opportunity to chat with her a handful of different times, and she has a unique journey with how she has gotten into this space. And maybe we'll dive into that a little bit. We'll kind of let it flow. But every conversation, it's just been very genuine in the sense that she truly cares for the people that she gets to work alongside, as well as help in her industry. So I will go ahead and give a brief intro on Macy, and we will get rolling from there with her. So she is currently the talent and culture manager over at Marvel Medical Staffing, which is based out of Omaha, Nebraska. She is a seasoned professional over there for about 3 years experience, but since joining in October of 2020, she has been instrumental in developing and implementing strategies to align employees with the company's mission, vision, and strategy. Her focus on diversity and inclusion has not only resulted in a comprehensive strategy, but has also embedded diversity and inclusion as a core capability within leadership and the organization. Her collaborative approach with key stakeholders underscores her commitment to achieving lasting positive change within her organization. And I can say I've experienced that in every phone call that we have had as well. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Macy to the show. Welcome, Macy.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm excited to dive into this. But before we do that real quick, if anybody is listening in and they have questions for Macy that we maybe want to answer afterwards, go ahead and shoot that into the comments. Also, let us know where you're watching from. We get to see that people might be watching, but we have no idea if they're coming from Omaha, Kansas City, New York, or even what platform. So just shoot that in the comments and we'd be happy to raise those questions up for her towards the end of the show. But Macy, we always like to start this show with an impact story. You know, how have you or maybe Marvel had an impact on maybe a team member or somebody in the community in general? But let's just dive in. Like, give us a story that you've seen made an impact.
Absolutely. So one that comes to mind, I have to start off by saying I was fortunate to be behind an initiative that I started last year called the Marvel Movement. And basically that is where each division within our company gets to pick a charity of their choice. So they come together, find something that they're passionate about, and then my team and I, assign them a month. So within that month, they either have to, donate goods or donate their time. And so I can't, I could give you a million stories, but, since kicking off this initiative last June, we have partnered with over 25 charities. So, and counting, I mean, just finishing out the rest of the year, we have 4 more that we're partnering with. So the impact story, even personally, like I have gained so many relationships through doing this. And we've really been able to kind of identify needs that we didn't know existed. And, whether it's just in our own community or our own backyard, really getting to dive in and work and collaborate and partner with these charities. I'm hope by doing this, we've made an impact on so many people's lives or so many different organizations. So again, it's truly hard to give like a specific example just because we're always trying to do so much, which is so incredible. And I'm grateful to work for an organization that wants to be involved, that wants to help. So yeah, I would say big impact story would be our Marvel Movement initiative and just wanting to get involved, wanting to help, and wanting to address and fix and help the needs that, are out there.
So Marvel Movement just really does allow each individual team member to figure out what is most impactful to each individual, correct?
Yes. Yep.
That is a change that I have seen through different initiatives where organizations like yours have chosen that, you know, I feel like in the past, and maybe my past work experience, it was like, hey, let's throw in a handful of nonprofits that maybe each of us like, and we're going to pick one, and then we'll all go towards that and help that, which is fantastic and helpful. But
Yeah.
as I continue to have conversations with leaders like yourself, it always comes back to this like individualization piece where although I feel good about helping this organization, I would much rather put time towards an effort towards an organization that near and dear to my heart. So I
Absolutely.
applaud you for um, putting that together. I'm going to ask you, like, what challenges have you seen from trying to do this and satisfy everybody that wants to go out and do this? Have there been any challenges with that, or what's the thing that's come out of that that's most inspiring to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be challenges with anything, especially being in the role that we're in. My team and I, my teammate Emily Brewer, she's incredible. We are both very giving people, very empathetic, and
Shout out to Emily real quick. She's out here watching. Yeah.
yeah, go Emily. She's great. I mean, we are both very, very giving people and empathetic people. So I'd say the challenges we face are honestly being strategic with it. And I don't want to say knowing who to give back to because there's never, a wrong partnership or whatever, but really being strategic about it and, obviously keeping the business at the forefront, but still, identifying what people want, what they're passionate about, because that's going to drive it even more, as much as we could sit in a room and come up with a list of charities that we want to get involved with. It means so much more when it comes from the people, and that just makes them even more connected, which, you really can't ask for anything better than that.
100%. It kind of goes along with that idea of like, we can sit in a room as leaders and come up with ideas that we think are great. And then you go and ask 100 other people within the organization to come up with some ideas. And it's like the leaders all had terrible ideas and everybody else came up with amazing,
Yeah.
amazing ideas. So I shouldn't say terrible, but
Yeah. Well,
the collaborative approach really, really does help with that. So
for sure.
I love that Marvel movement. Yeah, I think that's going to catch on with a lot of organizations, but I love that you guys are kind of spearheading that, and congrats to you for putting that together.
Thanks.
I didn't want to make you nervous, but I think you've been pushing this show out to a handful of people. So there are a lot of people messaging in right now from all across Nebraska. We've got somebody watching from the airport right now. Diane, stay safe if you're, I don't know what you're doing at the airport, but hopefully you are staying safe there. And Travis had some really, really nice things to say about you and being a pivotal part of the team. So, I've experienced this same thing that other individuals are mentioning here. So, Macy, I know that you're a great, great individual for Marvel. So let's switch over to the company side of things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's talk about what truly makes Marvel more than a business, and feel free to kind of dive into some core pillars, some initiatives maybe you guys have done, but tell us like truly like what does make it more than a business?
How much time do you have? No, I'm just
We
kidding.
have until about 3:30.
No, I could go on and on and on, but something that really sticks out to me is our mission of rehumanizing. It's
Yes.
basically rehumanization of healthcare staffing, but it is so much more than that. We put that at the forefront of every decision, every initiative, everything. And our CEO, Candace Clow, is so passionate about it. She drives it into every leader, into everything that she does. And I think, again, it's so easy to have a mission statement, on a poster or slap it on the website, but to truly like make sure that it is ingrained in everything that we do. And a big word of rehumanizing. That means, putting people first, whether it's, the healthcare professionals that we work with, or the people who work for Marvel, or the people we work with, vendors. It's
Right.
making that people connection and knowing that, human to human, we see you, we hear you, your care is our priority. And so that I would have to say, I mean, really, really, really sticks out because, again, it's so easy to just throw words around, like the mission statement or DEI or a healthy workplace culture, but are you actually following through? Are you practicing what you preach? And so that's very unique about Marvel. And I'm so beyond grateful to be in a position that I'm in to really help drive that.
I love the term rehumanizing because I think especially through the pandemic, a lot of us really got pushed back on our seats with this
Mhm.
idea that, look, we've been trying to go full force into completely going digital, full force into being fitting everything we possibly can in every single second, every single minute of the day. Where so often, and I'm speaking with my hand raised in this scenario, where I would put aside the things that were most valuable to me. I went through a career transition because I needed to make a change where I was prioritizing certain things over my wife and my kiddos. And like the idea of rehumanizing was just such a it resonated with me so much when you talked about what you were doing. And then also just the idea that this isn't just a word or words on a wall. So often we walk into these organizations and you're right, you see this plastered across the wall, but how many individuals could recite that mission statement, that value statement? I
For
would
sure.
argue to say very few, and in certain organizations can
Yeah.
actually follow through with that. And I had a guest on here before, and it was one of the situations where they were asked a certain question about like a DEI perspective, and she wanted each of her team members to answer this question. So she just let it go around the office and wanted their perspective, and it was very eye opening to her at
Mhm.
how far off she was from making sure that we were all aligned in the same mission and values because of the difference in answers. So that was just her putting into practice, following through and making sure that everybody knew where they were headed. So, with the rehumanizing piece of it, I know that you are in medical staffing, and I know as a husband of a nurse, it is hard to find those individuals from that side. Where have you seen, like, have you seen, your mission statement with this word rehumanizing? Are you seeing it attract individuals to your organization? Because it's such a polarizing, different word that you don't come across very often that I think can really, like, very easily set you guys apart.
Yeah, it's very different and it's very bold. Again, that's why it's really important to carry it out because it's a strong word. We don't want to just throw that around. To provide kind of an example for you, this year in March, my boyfriend is a now travel nurse. So I had asked Candace, the CEO, and my boss, Mary, who is the VP of HR, both incredible people. I met with them and asked to go remote. We had a lot of travelers who are traveling with Marvel in the South Carolina area. And so they
Mm,
let me go remote for a period of time. And I really got to connect with the travelers. And every dinner that I had with a traveler brought up our mission statement, which, like,
really?
you think that they maybe don't focus on things like that. They're there for the job, they're there for, whatever. And it was so eye opening. And they thought it was the coolest thing that, the company was taking them out to dinner and treating them and wanted to get to know them as a human being. You're not
Hmm.
just a traveler, it's not transactional. You're so much more than that at Marvel. And that's just the best thing.
What a unique experience to go from Omaha to wherever you were in South Carolina to sit down and have that recited back to you
Yeah.
as a way. I mean, that's just grounding in the sense that you guys are getting that mission across to your team members and traveling nurses. And quite frankly, talking again from the husband of a nurse, they need that bad.
Yes.
They went through a really, really tough time through that pandemic. And not to say that things haven't gotten better, but there's still work to be done and making
Mhm.
nurses and I should just say healthcare professionals feel like they're human again. So often I know that I'm talking to a shoulder that's being cried on to help through some of those things. So
For sure.
I love that word rehumanizing. I'm not going to necessarily steal it. I will give you guys credit, but I might have to reuse it in
Yeah.
the sense of like, let's go out and rehumanize
Right.
this space.
That's the Marvel mission.
All right. All right. Well, Jared says that you are great as well. So hello, Jared. Thanks for tuning in. What we will do now, we're going to transition to you, Macy.
Okay.
We know that every day is not sunshine and rainbows. We know that there are some days where you just don't want to do that task. But what I mean, like, what motivates you to continue to show up day in, day out when maybe it's hard to, because we're blessed to be able to serve the people that we get to serve. So what motivates you to stay in that and keep moving?
Yeah. Easy, the people. I am so, so, so grateful that I get to work with such amazing people. It's, people say don't throw around the term family, but it is. I feel like I could
Mm,
genuinely go
yeah.
to any individual within our company with any personal problems. And I feel the same way about them. I hope that they know that they can come to me. And what drives me, kind of going back to my past, is when I first started Marvel, I was going through it. We'll put it at that. I was not in a very good mental state. I had to be
Yeah.
transparent. I had dropped out of college. I didn't know what I was doing. And going into this role, working, a 9 to 5 and seeing my friends still, at college and enjoying their life, here I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
working every day. But Marvel invested in me and they made me, I do not regret my decision at all. It was hands down the best decision I ever made. And so just getting to make relationships with, or create and build upon relationships, it's the best thing. And that is my why. And making sure that how I started at Marvel and the way I was invested in and how they were accommodating to me when I was kind of going through it, I want every person to have that experience and know that you are valued, you are heard, your ideas are, they're heard and they're going to be acted upon, and you are meant to be where you are. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that one, because
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes it's not easy to share being quote unquote a college dropout. And the reason that I want to bring that up is that college is not meant for everybody. I think when I grew up in a more conservative home, it was go to college, get a degree, go get that 9 to 5. You'll work till you're 62 and a half and you'll retire and everything will be happy and everything will be perfect. And
Yep.
I love
Me
my
too.
parents and they gave me a wonderful life. I just don't necessarily agree with that space. And I sit there to wonder if college was necessary for me. So um, I appreciate you being vulnerable in that state. And I would also say, like, I think a lot of us have gone through moments like that. And what I enjoyed most about our initial conversation was the journey that you took to get to where you're at,
Mhm.
because you probably had every reason to say, I give up. It's not for me. I'm done with this, all of that kind of stuff. So if you're willing, I know we didn't talk about this. If you're willing, would you be okay sharing with a little bit of your journey to, where you are and how you got into this position with Marvel? And just obviously, I wouldn't even say Marvel taking a chance. They just saw who you are as a human being and was like, that person needs to be on our team. So if you're willing to share that, we got a little bit of time. I'd love for the audience just to hear this, because I think it's important for us that are the younger individuals coming up into the workforce. This could be very valuable to them.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually, how I got the job, crazy. I babysat for Candace, the CEO, and I
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
very, very, very like type A organized type of person. So I like cleaned her house. It wasn't messy by any means, but I just like picked up noticeably. And, she was very impressed by that. We had a great conversation when she got home. And I was kind of in a weird stage of trying to find a job. I was nannying at the time, but just wasn't, kind of got in my head of like, hey, you're not going to nanny forever. You need to do something.
Mhm.
So she had pitched me a job at Marvel. It was a brand new company still. So they needed an office administrator. So I accepted the position within probably 2 weeks. I interviewed and then I accepted the position, jumped right into the role. It was a lot of resume formatting, just basic office admin duties. And then at the same time at working at Marvel, I was doing social media work around Omaha. So I had kind of pitched to Candace and the marketing manager at that time saying, hey, I do social media. Like, is this something, that you guys are looking for? Could I help? And ended up landing the social media manager role. So I don't want to say I got lucky. I mean, it takes a lot of hard work, but
Got to
um,
put yourself in positions to be lucky.
yeah. So you got to put yourself out there if I can, recommend anything or give any advice.
Hmm.
So I put myself out there, ended up landing the role. I feel very fortunate to have been able to create incredible brand awareness for the company, viral content, connecting with the travelers, connecting with the vendors, kind of getting to communicate with the external side of the business. But at the same time, Candace had kind of noticed that I was really building relationships internally, and I loved event planning, and I loved just making people feel welcomed and building on relationships and building and developing them, that type of stuff really, really, really appealed
Yes.
to me. So I was then pitched with the talent and culture manager role. I jumped into this role, and I will never, look back. I'm just moving forward. They have invested in me. They've sent me to conventions. I have invested in myself by, buying
Yes.
LinkedIn Learning and taking all the certifications, attending any and every single webinar that I possibly can, just to learn more, because everything is always changing and you can never learn enough. So there's always different perspectives, and I'm always open to hearing them. And yeah, so I would say, just any advice, I guess, invest in yourself, and find
Oh
a
yeah.
company who is going to invest in you, whether you have a degree,
There you
whether
go.
what role you're in. Find the right people, and it'll skyrocket from there.
I think that's where what you would just really kind of hit on is advice for individuals kind of coming into this space and maybe don't feel like maybe there's some imposter syndrome or anything along those lines. You started with an organization because of a person that believed in you and trusted you and saw something in you that maybe, I mean, I'm not going to say it for you, but maybe that you didn't see within yourself.
Oh yeah, no, I
And
did.
you took that chance, and then you developed, you learned, you grew. So I love this idea of, just because you start in one spot, it doesn't have to be this prestige position or this higher ladder thing. Like, get started. If you trust somebody and you believe in somebody or that business, like, get started with them, because once you start applying yourself, once you start educating yourself, and then the organization willing to invest in you, which is a huge component for retention side of things, by the way,
Yep.
amazing things can happen to you. And Macy, I think that you are just a living example of that, and have followed through with a lot of it, even with all the things that I'm seeing. Here's another comment, like, they're just loving you today, Macy. So I greatly appreciate the time that you have given me on our calls and this call itself. And because of that appreciation, we want to, through my business and my wife and I's business, More Than a Meal, offer a meal to be delivered to somebody that you think is deserving of that, whether they're going through a tough lifetime, a celebratory lifetime, or, you know what, they've been busting their butt and they deserve to be recognized. So
Yeah.
do you have anybody in mind, and maybe give us a little bit on why you think that, as much as you're willing to share, but yeah, who would you like that to go to?
Gosh, this was hard, just because I want to gift everyone in the organization a
Well,
meal, because
we're
I
pretty good at that too.
love them so much. But no, the person that came to mind today was Amanda Yoakum. She is one of our nursing recruiters. She has really gone above and beyond to work with me and to help build out one of our employee resource groups called Marv All. It's very focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Let's
and
go.
community outreach. And so she's just really gone above and beyond, and really has showed up for everything, and really set a good example in the different committees that we have, just to, continue to show up, continue to, provide feedback, and together we can achieve more. That is my favorite saying ever. So she actually did just have surgery this week too. So I should probably
Oh,
throw that in there too. But
that is a perfect timing.
yeah, so she's really great, and I've gotten to really connect with her outside of work too, and so that's been really special. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I value
fantastic.
our friendship, so I'm going to send it to her.
All right. Well, we'll definitely work with you after the show to make sure we can get that released to her, and hopefully she has a quick and speedy recovery with the surgery side of things. But Macy, we have reached the end. I am greatly appreciate you willing to share more about yourself, Marvel. If anybody has questions, are interested in learning more about Marvel or Marvel Movement or Marvel, all these things, initiatives that you've got going on, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Just feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm an open book. Macy Matt is my name. I'd be happy to collaborate, answer any questions, make a difference together.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, if you guys reach out to me and want to be connected with Macy, I'm happy to make that connection as well. Macy, again, thank you so much. All right, everybody, as we finish up this episode, we come to you live every single Thursday at 3 p.m. where we're interviewing amazing leaders like Macy, business owners, individuals that are working hard to make their place of work a desired place, a inclusive place, a positive place to show up and do the talent that they have inside that organization. So our guest next week is going to be Catherine Warren. I'm excited to dive into some of the things that she's got going on over at her organization. So until next time, I appreciate you guys showing up, and we will see you next Thursday.